Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this information session on the 2021 TAPS Dance Competition. My name is John Skees, and I am the Director of Media for TAPS. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes, but first I've got some housekeeping things to address with you. So first and foremost, this webinar is being recorded. You're going to receive a link with an email with a link to that recording as soon as it's ready. That should be later this afternoon. We're also going to post it on our YouTube page. That's youtube.com/tapsbiz. Second, if you have any questions as we go through the presentation, please use the questions feature in the GoToWebinar interface. You'll see a little drop-down menu on that GoToWebinar panel on your screen. You can just type your questions in there. We're going to try to answer them as we go, but if we don't get to your question right away, we will play catch-up with a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. But if we run out of time, or you think of a question later, or if your question is just too specific, too in the weeds, to appropriately address in this venue, and we don't get to you, please send us an email or call us at the office after the webinar is over, and we'll get you taken care of. With that, we're going to get started. I am joined today in the office by Brian Bunselmeyer, TAPS Executive Director, Vina Williams, TAPS Director of Fine Arts, Robert Huckabee, TAPS Associate Director and Director of Compliance, and behind the keyboard helping us out today is Will Dixon from the TAPS office staff. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Brian.
Thank you for joining us today. Dance 21-22. It'll be January of 22. It'll be the first event to kick off the new year when we get there. Looking forward to having everybody back. It was a year that we struggled through at times at both the school level and the state level, but we were able to host all of our championships through the pandemic year. We were hoping that would be behind us. COVID still seems to be hanging around a little bit. We'll talk about the issues as we see it from the TAPS perspective a little later in this presentation. This year, we're going to talk about new year and a new opportunity. It's a new opportunity for everybody to come back together. It's a new year for you to help explore what opportunities you have at your school level and what we have at the TAPS level. We are making our plans to be in person in January. We're looking forward to that opportunity. Vina's got a little news about where it's going to be as we go forward in the presentation. But we are looking at being in person. If we have to go virtual, if your school requires it to go virtual, we're still going to look at those opportunities for your school to compete. That would also include our individual and small group competitions. Contingency plans, we continue to look. Waco is one of those cities that's been very aggressive in their COVID response. So though we plan on being back in the greater Waco area, as our plans change, we will make sure that we keep you involved. So again, new year, new opportunities. You've got a new squad. We're going to have a new place to perform, and we're looking forward to that opportunity in January of 2022. Vina, talk to us a little bit about the calendar and how it rolls through for the dance competition.
Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Our calendar, we've got a few important dates that you need to be aware of. The first one is the September 1st participation forms are due from your administration. So just double check with your admin, your athletic director, and make sure that they have selected dance as part of that participation form. Those are due September 1st, although many schools have already started submitting those this week. The entry deadlines are usually a few weeks before our event, so we will probably start asking you to update your rosters in the fall season, and then your actual entries will be due just before Christmas or right after the Christmas break. So it'll be great if you can make sure that you're prepared to have your exact rosters and who's doing solos and things like that all before returning back to the holiday after the break. And our event date is scheduled for January 15th. And so just put that on your calendar as well as your target for being performance ready.
Vina, as we look at it, we were looking to get everybody to include it in the participation form so they don't miss out on anything or miss out on the emails as they come. How late can we go if they wanted to add later on in the year? What's our latest opportunity for a school to jump in or to line up with their small ensembles or their solos? What kind of a date are we looking at on that?
You actually can add dance later. If it becomes, you're not quite sure how many dancers you have or how many kids are participating in school this year in person, and you just want to make sure that you have exactly the right numbers, you can always add up until the entry deadline. There is an add form in rank 1 to add that to your contract. So don't if you're feeling like you're not sure and September 1st comes around and then you decide, oh, I do have enough to be able to pull this off, just contact the TAPS office and we'll make sure that you get that ad form submitted.
along that same line, you do not have to perform a large ensemble, so to speak, or your full crew to be able to do the solos and smalls. Is that correct?
Correct.
So that might be something somebody might want to think about as we go on through. So September 1st is kind of that first big road mark. You drive by the sign. I need to pay attention to it, but we can always work later. Feel free to reach out to us here at the TAPS office. Vina is part of that as well as the fine art director to make sure that we cover you if need be. Robert, Rank 1 has been our situation now for 3 years, taking care of our student database. Walk us through a few of the things in Rank 1 that folks need to know.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. Like Brian said, Rank 1 is our database. In that database, we need all of our directors, sponsors, coaches, students, regardless of activities. We need everybody in Rank 1. Dance falls under our fine arts category. There are some components, obviously, that are very physical and require some things similar to our athletes, but it is something that we need everybody in the system. We need all directors in Rank 1. We need you in there with your profile. We need your email and contact information. That would be all directors, assistant directors, any role you have participating with your dance students. We need you in Rank 1. That is our main source of communication. We pull our emails that we send out from the Rank 1 database, so we need you in there with all of your roles marked correctly. If you ever need assistance with that, if you're not getting emails from us related to dance, then you'll know you're not in there or something's going on. Reach out to our office, and Rhonda and Kelly in our office. Vina can help you as well, but Rhonda and Kelly are here all day, every day, assisting people with anything they need from our office, or also if you need help from Rank 1. We need all of our coaches and directors in there. If you're a coach or sponsor, we need to make sure your information is in there and that you're compliant in Rank 1. That's head coaches, assistant coaches, head sponsors, assistant sponsors, whatever your role or title might be, we need you in that system. What you'll do once you're in there, you'll create your profile, you'll complete all that information. Make sure it's updated. If you have people who've served in these roles before and they're no longer at your school, go ahead and take those out so that our database is as accurate as possible. You'll complete your professional acknowledgement of rules. That's required every year, and then complete your scope requirements. Once you've done that, you log into Rank 1. Over on the left, there will be a little word over there that'll tell you you're compliant or non-compliant. If you've completed everything, that'll show as compliant. If it's non-compliant, you can just select that and it'll show you what is missing.
Robert, we get this question all the time about who actually needs to be in Rank 1. So kind of walk us through. It's full-time, part-time, it's a stipend, it's a volunteer, anyone that really is going to be working with your girls when they're at competition, or guys, I guess, in that matter, with your team while you're in competition. Help me walk through a little bit, just if I've missed something there, expand on who needs to be in Rank 1.
No, what we tell everyone, if you're working with your students in a sport or activity in TAPS, where they're, like Brian said, head, assistant, paid, unpaid, volunteer, whatever. If you're working with those students, and certainly if you're going to be coming to our competitions and representing your school, you need to be in that Rank 1 database. We need your information. We need you to be update, acknowledging that you are familiar with the rules and agreeing that you'll follow them, just like all of our parents, students, and staff members do throughout the year. So that's very, very important that you have everyone in there who might be interacting with your students. As we move on to our student requirements in Rank 1, it's very similar. They'll have a profile. That'll be either new if they're new to your school, or it'll be updated on an annual basis by the parents. They'll complete their student acknowledgement of rules. And remember, for dance, dancers are required to have a medical history and a physical. A medical history and a physical. The medical history is an online submission available there in Rank 1. And then the physical is completed in the normal course, just like for all of our other students. Let me address physicals just briefly. They are required on an annual basis by TAPS. We know with the last year and then moving into this year with COVID and the ability to get doctor's appointments, sometimes those can't be done as quickly as you would like. We do ask our schools to at least have the most recent physical on file and use that until your parents can get a new one done, and you can have that in the Rank 1 system.
The student, the medical history form is going to be an online form that students and families fill out. That's to help your medical staff at your school, whether it be a trainer or whether it be the school nurse, whoever looks at that, to help understand what underlying conditions may be there. The physical form helps protect the student and the school to make sure that anything that might be found. Dance is pretty hard on your body almost all the way through. We want to make sure our students are up to the ability level that's required. The other thing that's out there that we didn't talk about here is a return to play form. So if you do have a dancer who is hurt or is coming back, some of our schools are requiring a full-base medical signed by a doctor return to play. So that would definitely be true, whether it be a hip injury, whether it be a knee injury, severe ankle injury, something along that line. And then from the COVID perspective, that COVID return to play, that's definitely going to be based on what your school process and procedures are. So I think it's important. I think it's the medical side of this is just as important as the dance side to keep everybody safe and secure.
Absolutely. Dancers are definitely athletes and similar to our athletes in those requirements. If you're out for an injury, you need to have a doctor's release to return to participation just for the safety of our students. As we move on through Rank 1 eligibility for students, there may be some school-based forms that your school has, maybe some kind of permission form, maybe a travel form. Certainly those are available to be added into the Rank 1 system by your school, and that's something that helps you know that your students have completed all the necessary forms. The last category of students with regard to TAPS eligibility would be those students maybe new to your school, maybe a transfer student, an international student, or a student not living with parents. As those parents go through and answer questions on that student profile, if any of those other forms are needed, it will tell them that. It will populate that form for them, and our office can help them walk through that process. If they're showing up, they're going to show up green if everything's been completed correctly. If they're showing up red, that means something's missing somewhere, and if you need help with that, certainly our staff can help you.
Especially on the international student side or student not living with parent, don't panic. Don't get in a messed up state of mind. Make sure you call the TAPS office. Again, Kelly and Rhonda are here to help. They can help a lot better than Robert and I can, but they'll help walk you through. Vina can assist as well and help understanding why we're doing that.
And dance doesn't come around until January. It's not like our current activities that are going on right now, and schools are kind of scrambling last minute to get some forms in and get students eligible. You guys have the benefit of having a little bit of time, but let's be proactive in that, get that done, and get those students eligible. Last thing you'll need to do is complete a roster in Rank 1 for your team. There is a process in there. Rank 1 has some great tutorials about how to do that and walking you through that process. You'll build your roster. As you pull your students over, they'll show red or green, so you'll know where they stand on eligibility. And then we'll have an entry process that we'll get information out as we get closer to the event. But Rank 1, again, we need all of our staff in there, we need all of our students in there, and we need to get your dance rosters in the system.
Will, we're going to talk about resources. Bounce us over to the TAPS website. That's www.taps.biz. If you haven't been there before, if you have, it's going to look like that or similar. We're making some changes, but www.taps.biz. We'll click on Fine Arts over there to the right for us, drop down. Hopefully the little hamster is spinning today here. It's raining outside the Texas Motor Speedway. It did work. Click on Dance. And Vina, walk us through the resources that are available for our schools and what you wanted to be able to see and help generate the questions that come to you.
On our website, you can find, for one, the rules in that red toolbar. We've got our rules there, our Constitution and bylaws, but we also have the checklist, our rubrics for our teams, for each of the dance styles. There's a small ensemble and solo rubrics as well. Then also we will eventually have our championship results and any championship information listed there as well. And on the right side, we have that blog entry section where all our latest news posts are. So if you are seeing news posts here and you have not received those news posts in your email, then just let us know and we'll make sure that you're in on that email checklist. Our Constitution and bylaws, if you were to click on the rules bar up there, it has rules for our bylaws, but our general fine arts bylaws can be found in section 261. And in that section of 261, that's where you're going to find the time limits for the amount of music that you can use and how long your routines need to be, and things like that. We also do require you to be up to date with the NFHS safety rules, and so be sure to check out those safety rules with the NFHS.
While we're there, Vina, we'll jump on up there and hover over resources and click on that for us. That's the other way to get there from the homepage. Then you can click on bylaws. It'll take you to that big, long document. Vina, what was that number again for the bylaws for dance specific?
261. It's the very last
261.
section.
It's the very last section. There's a lot in here, but as far as eligibility, as far as everything else, it's all in there. You just got to scroll down that left-hand side like Will's doing. Or Robert, I think it's your favorite deal is to say hit Control F and type it in. It'll take you to the opportunity. So 261, click on that, Will. There's going to be a couple of updates, but I don't think there's anything major as we go through. Vina, do me a favor just real quick as it populated there. It talks about the five opportunities that we have, the 5 types or genres of dance. Hit those real quick and what you've seen over the last couple of years as far as entries.
You do get to select 2. We do have each dance style. Your team will pick 2 for your varsity teams. We do see a variety of all of them pretty equally. A lot of people like to do the jazz and the pom. And then for your solos and your small ensembles, they're only required to do 1 dance. And so you could choose from any of those genres or actually even mix them up if you'd like.
I think it's important. We'll bounce us back over to the PowerPoint. We're going to slide on down a couple of slides. Vina, we've started this. We've been doing this for quite a few years now. Tell us about our judges and our partners at American Dance. Just a brief overview of who they are, what they do, and just how important they are for us, because they're very important to our success.
We have partnered with American Dance and Drill Team again this year, and they are fantastic with making sure that our dancers and our teachers know exactly what's expected. They're available for help throughout the year, as well as just offering advice for how to do things. And when they hire judges, we've got great experts that come in and listen to our groups and watch them perform. They give written comments as well as oral critiques. It's really nice to be able to watch your routine as the judges are commenting during your routine. So on competition day, we have the varsity teams. You have your warm-up and then your performance for your dance 1 type, and then you have a warm-up, and then you do your second performance. You get to choose which dance style you do first. So you could choose to do your stronger one first or the stronger one second. It's really up to you. For small ensembles and solos, the same thing. The judges will give written and oral critiques for that. It's a great opportunity for your kids to take away something more than an award. They can take away comments on how to improve, because dance, with our event being in January, a lot of our schools may participate in other events throughout the year, and that's just a great growth opportunity.
Vina, I think the number one thing that I find comforting about American Dance is it's high school based. They understand the high school world. They understand that these young men and young women are working towards that at their high school level. So I've always been very impressed with their critiques. I've always been very impressed with their opportunity to give spot-on comments that go to the high school world. So, again, American Dance teaming up with them. It's good to have our partners out of Salado come be a part of what we do.
So I just want to talk about the adjudication and awards that we do give. The judges are giving a rating for all your performances. For each dance, you'll get a superior or excellent or good rating, as well as them giving scores to determine the overall rank for our championship event. So the top 4 schools will be awarded a team award, but all the schools, regardless of your ranking overall, if you've had a superior performance, you also get a superior performance plaque for that. We do offer individual skills, the leaps and turns and jumps, and so the students have that opportunity to show off some of their individual skills at our event, as well as the new opportunity of solos and solos and small ensembles as well. So it's a really good opportunity for your kids to be highlighted in things that they do well, even if, one student might have some great strengths that maybe your team, works together as a team. You can highlight those students in those solo opportunities.
So, Vina, kind of along that same line, we're moving to a new location. How do you see that as a benefit? Last year, we were spread between two separate buildings. Tell them where we're headed and tell us how you think that's going to overall affect the opportunity to compete.
This year, we're looking at the base in Waco, Texas. It is a new facility. We'll be able to perform on the basketball court floors that we all like, we do have more space so that we will have a solo and ensemble space as well as the large ensemble varsity area. It's large enough to accommodate our fans, and it's all under one roof. And so that is really nice that you won't have to be going outside.
So they are portable basketball floors, but you will have the full court to perform with your large ensemble. The small ensembles will be performing on the same surface, just a cut-down version of that in the warm-up area. So it's going to be important to us that we'll have the same surface for everybody, and it'll be their basketball playing surface, all under one roof. Hopefully we've got some heating and air conditioning things to go with that so that we don't get too cold or too warm. But we're looking forward to being in Waco at the base. More information on that will come. Robert, do me a favor and walk us through a few of the COVID protocols, especially as school-based, and then practices and performances prior to coming to the championships, like at basketball games or pep rallies, how that would work, and then how you see COVID protocols and the championships.
Okay, Brian. Our COVID protocols for the year, for this school year, were posted about 2 weeks ago. It's on our website. If you go to the main page of our website, that top tab that says resources, that first item under resources is called COVID information. If you click on that, it'll take you to a document. It's 3 or 4 pages long. That has our base protocols for this school year. To summarize it, and you can go to that and read it. To summarize it, we're requiring our schools to have their own protocols for their students and their staff as they go throughout the year. For our competitions, at the present time, we're saying masks are allowed but not required. So if your school requires your students to wear a mask even during competition, certainly we'll honor that. But if they do not, then that's your choice. As you go through planning your camps and practices and those kind of things, that'll be local school control, so that'll be up to your school based on your protocols to determine what's best for your students. As we move to the championship, we are constantly monitoring the COVID situation, and if there are any changes, we'll publish that out. If you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to our office. Brian?
I think that's about all we have in the presentation. Questions, answers. Vina, we do have one question that's come in, if you'll address that. And if any others pop up, we'll definitely answer those. If not, please feel free to email us or call us, and we will work through those as we get ready for Dance 2022.
Okay, so one of the questions that has come in asked if the rubrics or the judging forms are being updated according to the coaches' feedback. We did get some feedback around at the convention and just before the convention. I am working with the dance committee and American Dance to look over those rubric forms, and we hope to have those finalized by the end of this month. And so if there's any changes to that, we will be letting you know just before September 1st, so that we have the opportunity for you to make any adjustments. Most of it is just logistical ways that it looks on the pages, and just making sure that there's an even playing field across the 5 dance types.
I think the big other question that we get continuously is, how am I going to be placed in a division or in a what's going to separate me, the number of dancers or the number of how big my school is. And just talk a little bit about how we've worked through that, and that won't be finalized until once we get contracts in and know who all's coming. So I think is that a fair statement? When we have to look at it, we can't do it necessarily right away until we figure out who all's coming.
Generally, with dance, we're a little more solid than with cheer. Our 1A through 4A schools will all compete together, regardless of the size of your squads. Most of them are less than 12 anyway. And then our large schools, 5A and 6As, will compete together depending on the size of your squad. So we have a large squad versus a small squad.
So over the years, as we've developed dance, I think we've got a pretty good product. I think we continue to improve and make refinements, but we're so proud to be able to offer this opportunity for our schools and for the students you serve. We look forward to seeing you in Waco sometime in January. If you've got questions in the meantime, 254-947-9268, 254-947-9268, or info, info at taps.biz, info at taps.biz. Please reach out to us. Again, Taps Dance 2022. It's going to be here before you know it. Hope you sign up. Hope to see you there. It's also an opportunity to give your young men and your young women an opportunity to perform for a state championship, and I think that's extremely important in what we offer here at Taps. I don't see any more questions, so John, take us on out of here, and we will move on with the day. Thank you again for joining us for Taps Dance 2022.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Vina. Thank you, Robert and Will. And thank you, folks, for being with us here today. Again, an email to this recording will be sent to you later this afternoon. You can also find it on our YouTube page. That's youtube.com/tapsbiz, and you can share that with anybody on your campus that needs to see this information. And with that, you folks enjoy the rest of your day.